Hey, welcome. Today we're going to dive into a bit of hidden magic that honestly powers so much of our modern world. In this explainer, we're finally going to unlock the secrets behind that simple little tap. So let's get right into it.
I mean, really think about it for a second. You tap your transit card or your office badge, maybe your hotel key, and just like that, a door unlocks or a gate opens. But wait, there's no power button on it, right? You've never charged it. You can't see a battery anywhere. So how in the world does it work? Is it actually magic? Well, not exactly, but it's pretty darn close. All right, the secret behind all this everyday magic, it's a technology called RFID. And it is this powerful, super fascinating system that is literally all around us, just hiding in plain sight inside these simple little plastic cards. Okay, so let's break this down. RFID, it stands for Radio Frequency Identification. And at its core, the idea is actually pretty simple. You've got a reader device that uses radio waves to wirelessly talk to and, well, identify a tag or a card. You can kind of think of it like a wireless barcode, but honestly, it's way, way smarter. Okay, so that brings us to the first and honestly, the most mind-bending part of this whole puzzle. Where's the power come from? The answer is just incredible. It literally comes from thin air. And this right here, this is the core of the magic. It's the whole idea of passive RFID. See, these are the cards we use every single day, and they have absolutely no internal power source. I'm talking no tiny battery, not even a capacitor holding a charge. They are completely, totally dormant until a reader gets close.
So how does it happen? It's brilliant. First, the reader is constantly sending out a radio signal, creating this invisible electromagnetic field all around it. Now, when you bring your card close, the little antenna coil inside it, which is really just a loop of wire, it enters that field. That field then induces an electric current in the coil, and boom. That tiny little bit of captured energy is just enough to wake up the card's microchip and power it on for a split second.
So, we know how it gets its power, but what's actually inside one of these cards? Come on, let's peel it open and take a look at the anatomy of a typical RFID tag. It's surprisingly simple. If you could actually peel back the plastic, you'd find just two main things inside. A carefully wound copper coil, which is the antenna, and then this teeny tiny microchip. Everything else? That's just the plastic casing to hold it all together and keep it safe. So the really important part is how these two pieces work together as a team. The antenna's job is basically to be a net, right? It just catches the energy floating from the reader. And the microchip? Well, that's the brain. Its only job is to store a unique ID number, and the second it gets that little burst of power from the antenna, it sends that number right back out. Now here's the thing. Not all RFID is the same. The technology has actually grown into this whole big family of different systems, and each one is designed for a totally different purpose. So let's meet the family, shall we? Okay, so this family is usually broken down by its operating frequency, and that really just affects its range. First up, you've got low frequency, or LF. This is for super short-range stuff, like the key fob you use to get into your office. Then there's high frequency, or HF. That's kind of the sweet spot. It's what's in our Metro and payment cards. And finally, you have ultra-high frequency, UHF, which can be read from meters and meters away, which is absolutely perfect for something like tracking all the inventory in a giant warehouse.
Now, I'm sure you've heard of NFC, right? Near Field Communication. So what's the difference? Well, here's the cool part. NFC is actually just a member of the RFID family. To be specific, it's a super specialized, very short-range version of that high-frequency RFID we just talked about. It's the tech that lets your phone act like a credit card for all those tap-to-pay systems. So a good way to think about it is RFID is the parent technology, and NFC is one of its really, really successful kids.
Okay, we've spent a lot of time talking about the card, but what about the other side of the conversation? How does the reader actually start this whole thing and, listen for a response? To make this a bit more real, let's look at an actual example. This little guy is the MFRC 5222. It's an incredibly popular and super affordable RFID reader module. You see it all the time with electronics hobbyists and robotics beginners, especially folks who pair it with something like an Arduino to build their very own access systems. So this reader, just like your Metro card and your credit card, operates on a very specific frequency, 13.56 megahertz. The best way to think of this is like a designated radio channel, but just for high-frequency RFID. The reader is just broadcasting on this channel 24/7, waiting. just waiting for a compatible card to tune in.
The whole communication process from start to finish is like a super quick invisible handshake. So step 1, the reader sends out its power signal. Step 2, any compatible card that gets close enough wakes up instantly. And step 3, in that tiny split second, the card uses that borrowed power to send its unique ID number back to the reader. The reader hears it, checks the ID, and bang, the gate opens. It all happens literally in the blink of an eye. And just like that, the secret is unlocked. You see, what seemed like pure magic is really just this beautiful, elegant dance of radio waves, energy transfer, and communication.
So let's just quickly recap the big takeaways, right? First, RFID is all about using radio waves to identify things wirelessly. Second, and this is the big one, those passive cards you use every day have 0 batteries. They get all their power wirelessly from the reader. And third, the system itself is just simple and brilliant. An antenna catches the power, and a tiny chip uses it to shout back its unique ID, basically saying, hey, this is me.
So now that you know the secret, I'm going to leave you with a question. As you go about your day, just look around. Look at your passport, maybe the books at the library, your pet's microchip, even the little security tags on new clothes. Where else are you going to spot the hidden magic of RFID at work? Thanks so much for joining me.